Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Game Day Show. This is your source for college football entertainment. We're back from a 3-week break, and this episode's all about college football, baby. We have a lot to talk about over these past few weeks. It's been crazy. Media days across the country have been going on with the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and ACC. There's some huge news coming out of the Big 12 with Texas and Oklahoma wanting to join the SEC. Oh my God, what the hell just happened? We have all that coming up, and we're talking about the maybe new SEC pod and a couple more stuff coming along with you. I'm Ethan Bass, your host, just me today. I cannot wait to get started with you guys. It's college football time. Let's get rolling. All right, guys, before we get started, please follow my Instagram on Bass_Productions and All Gator Nation. Those are my two main Instagrams for production, and my Florida Gators fan page. Like you guys know, I'm a Gator fan. Also for my TikTok, Ethan.Bass2, where I post videos about college. I had a big time rush guy on my TikTok. It's pretty huge right now. So you guys all go follow my TikTok. We are back. I'm super excited, guys. So make sure you guys follow my socials for live updates of what's happening in the world of college, or like when my upload schedule is coming up. We're gonna have lots of edits coming up, so I'm super excited about that. So let's get rolling with the podcast, and then edits will come soon following after this episode. Okay, let's talk about the big Oklahoma and Texas news. So I was actually on an airplane. I was on JetBlue. They do have free Wi-Fi, which is very nice. So I found about this news on an airplane, and I was about to scream. Like, just hearing about this news that Oklahoma and Texas wants to join the SEC is just mind-blowing. Now, we did know that the Big 12 is kind of falling apart there, but without Oklahoma and Texas, right, let's not focus on the SEC. Let's focus on the Big 12. Is the Big 12 going to be like the Big East, how they just separate it all apart? I don't know, because you have Oklahoma State, and that's pretty much it in the Big 12 without Oklahoma and Texas. So I don't know if the Big 12 can collapse. All these teams in the Big 12 are going to need to find a new home fast, because these conferences are going to fill up quickly. Are we going to see something like a Power 4? I mean, the Pac-12 is kind of relevant, so we're going to see a Power 3. Or I heard something on another podcast that we could have an AFC-NFC thing with the Big 10 and the SEC, as the ACC can't stay stable either. I don't know what's going on here with the Big 12, but apparently Oklahoma and Texas did not join the meeting last night to discuss all this information. So this is getting like really close. I heard a source also say that they could be joining SEC in the matter of weeks. Like, what? I also heard another source that their contract does end in 2025, so they could be joining there. So we have a lot of like misinformation. We don't know what's going on. We should hear from more information next couple weeks. But what does this mean in terms of the SEC? The SEC, they went on the network and they said that they're going to do like a pod format. So I have all the pods here. And this is the proposal of if Oklahoma and Texas join the SEC. Pod A would have Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, and South Carolina. Pod B would have Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. Pod C would have LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. And Pod D would have Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. Now, this will be a 9-game conference schedule format, just like every other conference. The SEC, I think, does 8 conference. They would play 3 teams in a pod every season. So let's say we're looking at Pod A. We're looking at Florida, my team, I guess you can say. We would play Georgia, Kentucky, and South Carolina. And then we would play 2 games against each other in other pods and host every team at least once every 4 years. Now, if you look at the problem in the SEC, Florida, I'm using for an example since I know them the best. We have not played Auburn since the last time we played them was at home in 2019, but we have not played them since like 2012. That is a huge problem. Like these SEC teams don't match up. Like Florida plays LSU every year from the West and the East, so like there's like a connection between there. But like Florida has not played Arkansas in forever since 2020. Before 2020, Florida has not played Arkansas in forever. Like it's just like these SEC teams don't play each other that often. I think that's why these pods would make sense, because at least we can see these matchups. But going back to the Big 12, are we going to see like a Power 3 where it's only the SEC, ACC, and Big 10? Because all these Big 12 teams, and maybe even the Pac-12, because the Pac-12 is kind of irrelevant besides Oregon, sometimes USC. I mean, they never really make the playoff. I'm sorry, Pac-12 fans. UCLA has been a crap show forever now. So the Pac-12 is kind of getting a roll. I don't think they're out of the picture yet, but they have a lot of work to do. I think the Big 12 screwed. I'm not gonna lie to you. Without Oklahoma, without Texas, there's no Big 12 because you're looking at some of these teams, and these teams can't compete for a national championship. Because if you're looking realistically, there's only really 15 teams that can compete for a national championship every year, and probably most of them. Let's see, in the SEC you have Florida, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, and A&M. 5 teams out of like the 12 teams that can compete come from the SEC, whatever. And the ACC, it's really Miami, Florida State, and Clemson. That's about it. In the Big 10, it's Michigan and Ohio State, really. In Big 12, it's obviously Texas, Oklahoma, and then Pac-12, you're going to look at Oregon, maybe USC, UCLA, maybe, if they go undefeated. Doubt that would happen. But, like, we're also looking at a team like UCF, right? A Notre Dame. A UCF team, going back to UCF, a UCF team does not like this. I think the whole college football does not like this besides Oklahoma and Texas. Of course, we're going back to the name, image, and likeness era of college football where it just got approved. Now, college football is all about the name, image, and likeness right now, so I wonder if that's going to play a factor. I think that Oklahoma and Texas just want the money, not going to lie. But going back to UCF, they went undefeated right, in 2017. They were the only undefeated team to go undefeated. And they claimed themselves as a national champion. Now, how do we look at this? Because they were in the not in a Power 5 conference, so they didn't really make the playoff. But I think these 12-team playoff would help, but that's irrelevant right now in this conversation. How will UCF think of this? Because with Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC, that limits their chances of actually making the playoff until the 12-team playoff comes in. A team, I feel like the Big 12 needs to recruit, if they want to stay alive, like teams like UCF, Cincinnati, BYU, like these teams who were very good last year, Coastal Carolina, like these teams were very good last year. They only lost 1 or 2 games, but they were not in the Power 5. I feel like they need to be in Power 5 for these teams to survive and make the playoff before the 12-team playoff. But money definitely it's a huge factor in what's going on here. I mean, ESPN reported Thursday that both Texas and Oklahoma would likely owe the Big 12 upward of $76 million to get out. And that's a lot of money with the NIL, but their contract does run until 2025. But I heard that they could be joining in the next couple of weeks. I don't know what's going on. Big 12 officials did, like I said, haul the call, but Texas and Oklahoma did not join. Actually, some ACC athletic directors believe that their league would make a big push in the next few years if they both added Texas and Oklahoma, along with Notre Dame. So now the ACC wants these teams. I feel like Greg Sankey leads the commissioner of the SEC, is the leader of college football because with the NCAA, like the NCAA is not that big of a factor right now. It's more of Greg Sankey and the SEC who really own college football. But Notre Dame, like this also relates to Notre Dame too, because will Notre Dame finally join a conference? I mean, we saw them obviously join a conference because of COVID last year, but they didn't really want to join a conference. They're really an independent, but like, do they actually want to join a conference? Like, if we had a Power 3 with Big 10, SEC, and ACC, let's put Pac-12 and Big 12 out of the picture since they're Pac-12 isn't really relevant. But if we have a Big 3 and Notre Dame is like the really only team outside that Big 3, do they still get in the playoff? I know we're talking about the 12-team playoff, but do they still get in the playoff? That's a huge question we all have to ask. I mean, this is a massive thing. I was freaking out. It's crazy. And I'm honest, as a college football fan, I don't know if I'm excited about the future of the sport. It is a big push. I do have to think about it a lot longer in order to see if I like it. As an SEC fan, as one of the teams as Florida, I don't know if I like this. I mean, we will see way better games. I mean, we're going to wake up on a Saturday and see Oklahoma walking in Bryant-Denny Stadium in Alabama, or see LSU walking to Texas. I mean, that's just crazy to me. See that every year. I mean, it's going to be insane. Like, the amount of matchups we're going to get every year is going to be crazy. So I'm super excited about that. But I don't know, man. It's just hard knowing that the NCAA and college football is really falling apart here, where we're really going to have a Big 3. And do we really want like a Big 2 where AFC and NFC? Do we really want this turning into an NFL type scenario? I know I don't, because I feel like this is turning into an NFL scenario. That's what makes college so unique. is you have all these fan bases, these atmospheres, the best atmospheres in the world, I would say, besides soccer and the European League. But these atmospheres are absolutely amazing. Going a little off topic about these atmospheres. But like that's what makes college so different than the NFL. It's just the atmosphere, the game day experience, just the football being played. That's why I love college so much better than the NFL. Just because we have the tradition, generations upon generations of people went to these schools, right, and saw these traditions. Now, I'm afraid that will be all in jeopardy if we move to, let's say, Power 3 or Power 2 in an NFL-type format. All right, guys, we're going to move along to our next topic. All right, guys, let's move on to Media Day now. Let's focus on the SEC Media Day. I want to focus on that, too. We have a couple new head coaches coming out of the SEC. We have Josh Heupel out of Tennessee. He was the 5th coach since 2008. So Tennessee has really been on the decline back in this past decade. But I really like this hire. I mean, he'll join former UCF athletic director Danny White in Knoxville. He was 28-8 in the past 3 seasons with the UCF Knights and averaged 43 points a game as the coach. He was also had success as the Missouri offensive coordinator, pass. I really like this hire just because I feel like Tennessee has not been that relevant for the past decade. And as a Gator fan, I hope they don't. I hope they stay relevant. But as a college football fan, I hope they become relevant again. It'll be nice. Brian Harsin out of Auburn. He led Boise State to 3 Mountain West Conference championships in 44-year-old coach. He's moving up after a 69-19 record with the Broncos. Now, this hire is also very good. I feel like it's a fresh new start for Auburn. So I really like this hire. And, Gus Malzahn was the former coach. He's now with UCF. But he won 3 Iron Bowls in 8 seasons against Alabama. I feel like they need to win more. I know it's Alabama, but Iron Bowls, you do need to beat Alabama quite a bit if you want to make the playoff, obviously. So I hope Brian Harsin gets it done. Clark Leah. I think that this is probably my favorite hire coming out of the SEC. I feel like he's perfect for them. He played fullback for them in 2002 to 2004. For Vanderbilt. And then he peaked at Notre Dame, becoming the defensive coordinator for the past few seasons. And they became top 15 in defense. The Notre Dame Irish. Clark Leah, I love this hire. I cannot wait to see what they can do. Even though they are the worst team in the SEC, I feel like just this hire was a standalone breakout hire. I did not expect Vandy to hire Notre Dame's defensive coordinator. That's a huge hire, and congratulations to Vanderbilt. And our last coach I want to talk about, Shane Beamer out of South Carolina. This is very interesting. I was very, it is a good fit. It's a good start. He's the son of VTech's coach, Frank Beamer. He was also assistant in South Carolina in 2007 to 2010. But this is really interesting to me just because they've been on kind of the decline. So I'm really excited to see what Shane Beamer can do. Yeah. All right, y'all. Thank you all for joining me on this episode of the Game Day Show. I will be back next week with more college football entertainment. Thank you guys for waiting on this 3-week break. I was away on vacation, so we're finally back doing these shows. A lot of college football content coming up over the next, 6-7 months of the college football season. That's literally all we're going to be talking about. Super excited for you guys. More edits are coming out next week and more to come. Super excited, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic day and have fun, guys. I'll see y'all later.